Salutations, statistics supporters. This is A Stats MR returning with another presentation to sleep through. For today's video, I will be taking five Sporcle quizzes related to geography. There will be 2 fact quizzes in which I have to guess which country goes in which square. And there will be 2 quizzes related to airlines, and 1 quiz related to the historic Route 66. And for those unfamiliar with Route 66, so prior to the interstate highway system, its construction in the 1950s when Dwight Eisenhower was president, there were a series of highways, and Route 66 was a historic highway that cut across the United States. Not all of it, it didn't go coast to coast, but it went from the Midwest to the Southwest, so we'll end up at Route 66. So let's start with the quizzes, and as always, I'll leave a link in the description to the Sporcle quizzes if you want to take them yourselves. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we'll start with a logic quiz. So for this logic quiz, there's 25 squares. We have 25 minutes. So 1 minute per square will have to be somewhat efficient. Okay. Alright, so Colombia is A1. Each column only contains countries from one unique continent. Canada is B4. Alright, so type in Canada. B4. The world's newest country is located in D2. So I believe the newest country is South Sudan in Africa. If a country has South in its name, then it'll always be the lower row than its northern counterpart, and vice versa. So if north in the name, then the southern counterpart would be below it. So D1 must be Sudan. Every country in row 5 is the last one alphabetically in its continent. Okay. And we know from and in A1, each column only contains one continent. So, if we're thinking about the continent of Africa, there's Zambia, but there's also Zimbabwe, and I believe the Zimbabwe, M-B-A-B-W. Yes. So, let's look at South America. Alright. Venezuela, there's no Y, C, or W. So, Venezuela, V-E-N-E-C-U-E-L-A. Meaning column B is North America, so let's think about this. So there's the United States, none of the countries in Central America. I'm trying to think anything of the Caribbean. Are there any V's for countries? St. Kitts, Nevis, Cuba, Jamaica, Bahama. No, I think it's the United States. Alright. And then we don't know what's in C or E yet. Okay. Both of the 2 doubly landlocked countries are in this puzzle. Alright. So doubly landlocked, that means the country is landlocked and then all of its neighbors are landlocked. Now, in South America, the only 2 countries that are landlocked are Bolivia and Paraguay. However, each of those countries borders a country that is not landlocked. Paraguay borders Argentina, Bolivia borders Chile. So that's how nothing in North America is landlocked. Africa, there's the Central African Republic, but I believe that borders the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo borders the Atlantic Ocean. Now in Europe, there are small countries. Let's see, Andorra borders Spain. That borders the ocean. borders Luxembourg, borders Belgium, and Belgium borders the ocean. Liechtenstein, though, Liechtenstein borders Switzerland and Austria, and both Switzerland and Austria are landlocked. So, Liechtenstein's in the quiz. Thinking about Asia, Uzbekistan, it borders, I think, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan. I think, okay, so Uzbekistan and Liechtenstein are in the quiz. We just don't know where yet. Alright, so let's look at the other. One of the two main countries on the Strait of Gibraltar is adjacent to the square, so that means column C is Europe from the other end, and A1. Now we don't know whether or not it's the United Kingdom or Spain. However, since we know column C is in Europe, the alphabetically last country in Europe is the Vatican. So, let's see here. Now, if Uzbekistan and Liechtenstein, so Liechtenstein has to be, so then that means we haven't had anything for Asia yet, so Asia must be in column E because Uzbekistan's in the quiz. So if Asia is in column E, the last alphabetically is Yemen and Asia. Alright. The country in D3 is home to Timbuktu. So Timbuktu is in Mali. Alright. And, alright, let's look at some of these other. Every country but one in row 3 is landlocked. Okay. Now again, North America, I do not believe has any landlocked countries, so that would be the one that's not landlocked. Every country but one in one. Okay. Now, we can, let's see here. One of the two main countries on the, well, this could be Spain or United Kingdom. So, alright, let's keep going. Only one country in this column starts with the letter P. So that could be Paraguay or Peru. We don't know yet. Square adjacent to the country whose southern border is defined by the 38th parallel. So the 38th parallel is lodged in the Korean War, so that would be North Korea. Now, we know from hint in C5 that every country but one, which would be North America, so North Korea cannot be E3 because E3 is landlocked. So, and it must be adjacent to, so E2 is North Korea. Which means South Korea must be E4 because again South Korea is not landlocked, so it cannot be an E3, South Korea or EA. Okay. Only two of Europe's 10 smallest countries are present in this puzzle. Okay, so we know that Vatican City is one of the 10 smallest in Europe, and Liechtenstein is another. So Liechtenstein will be the other answer. Okay. The only South American country with a 4-letter capital city is in this puzzle. So Lima, Peru. So Peru is the country that begins with P. Okay. Which means, since A3 is landlocked and Paraguay and Bolivia are the only two, and then there's only one P country that starts with P in South America, and it's Lima, Peru, that means A3 is Bolivia. No island nations are present in this puzzle. Okay, so then C4 must be España. Alright, two of the countries I border are also in this column. There are no countries from Oceania in this puzzle. Okay, so only two of Europe's 10 smallest countries are in the puzzle. And we have Liechtenstein and Vatican City, so Andorra's not here, so Spain and Portugal are in here somewhere. So Spain and Portugal, France and Portugal. France is not landlocked, Portugal is not landlocked. Ergo, Liechtenstein must be cell C3, the country with the only non-rectangular flags in the same diagonal as the world's smallest country. So Vatican's the smallest country, and I know from visiting Ottawa, and I was not in the Nepali embassy, but I was in a building next to the Nepali embassy. Nepal's flag has two triangles. So Nepal, and by the way, Nepal is landlocked. Nepal. Okay. Alright. The two North American countries whose capitals begin with San are adjacent to each other. Okay. So there's San Salvador, which is the capital of El Salvador, and there is San Jose, which is the capital of Costa Rica. Now we don't know where, but they're adjacent to each other somewhere. Okay. Same thing, we know France and Portugal are here, but we don't know which one goes where. Both of the two doubly landlocked countries are in this puzzle. Well, the only cell left for Asia is E1, so that would be Uzbekistan. Okay. The country in A2 borders Guyana and Colombia. So Venezuela does that. However, Venezuela is already in A5. That means by process of elimination, A2 would be Brazil. The countries in row 1 are in alphabetical order. Okay. Wait. Before we do that, only one country in this column starts with the letter B, and underneath. Wait, no. Where's some? I thought there's one about Leech Colony. So Belize is here now. And according to the hint in A2, the countries in row 1 are in alphabetical order, so B1 cannot be Belize, because Belize would be before Colombia. Now, we know from the hint in E3, El Salvador and Costa Rica are next to each other. So Belize must be in cell B3, BLIZE. Okay, all the countries in row 2 speak different languages. Okay, so now we need to think here. So it's France and Portugal. Now Brazil speaks Portuguese, so that means Portugal cannot be in C2. Portugal must be in cell C1. So, and then, yeah, Brazil's Portuguese. This would be Spanish, either one. That'd be French. South Sudan's English. Okay, yeah, so C2 is France. The three countries in A1's diagonal predominantly speak Spanish. Okay. So both Costa Rica and El Salvador speak Spanish, so that's either one. So Colombia speaks Spanish, so El Salvador and Costa Rica both speak Spanish, so that'd be 2. Liechtenstein's German. Yemen is Arabic. So that, okay, so in Africa, I believe Equatorial Guinea, it's Spanish. So I'm going to say Equatorial Guinea for D4, E-Q-U-A-D-O-R. Alright. The country in B1 borders only one ocean, so El Salvador only borders the Pacific Ocean. Alright, so B1 would be El Salvador, which would be, B2 would be Costa Rica. Okay, So we're off to a good start. Had 11 minutes to spare, so we were efficient. Alright, so we'll go to the next logic quiz. Okay, so now we'll do the second logic quiz. Okay, so we have 25 questions, but only 20 minutes this time, so we'll have to be more efficient. Alright, let's begin. Okay, A1 is Burundi, D2 is the largest country in the Americas. Okay, so D2, the largest country in the Americas, is Canada. All column 4 countries are in Asia. Okay, row B is all Europe. So if row B is all Europe, but column 4 is all Asia, Russia is in both Europe and Asia. Okay, C2 is Maldives. A3 is Zambia. Okay. Each country in this column is on a different continent. All column 5 countries are island nations. Okay. 3 countries in row D start with the letter B. Okay. E. Okay, so column 2 is either the smallest or largest country on the continent. Now Russia is the largest country in Europe, so we have to go with the smallest, so that'd be the Vatican. B5, D2, and D3 all start with the same letter. Okay, so D2 starts with C. So B5, so an island nation in Europe starting with C would be Cyprus. C1 is Brazil. Okay. Libya borders the country in A2. So the smallest one, so that'd be Algeria. Because Algeria would be C1 is a former colony of B3. So Brazil used to be a colony of Portugal. Alright. D3 and C3 both border 2 oceans. Alright, and D3 has to start with a C from the hint, and B2. Costa Rica borders 2 oceans. Alright. Australia and Oceanic countries are not in the quiz, okay. D4 borders 1 country. Alright. So a D4 country that only bordered in Asia, that'd be Brunei. Is there something about starting with B? 3 countries in row D start the yeah, so Brunei. I think it borders Malaysia. Yeah. Row A has 4 countries in Africa. So 2, 3. So an African country that's an island. Well, there's multiple ones that could fit that. Yeah. Let's try another one. And a B country that's an island. That could be Bahamas, it could be Barbados. E5 begins with the letter J. E5. Okay, so E5 begins with the letter J and an island. That could be Japan or it could be Jamaica. You have to take a guess. Former colony. So it could be a B country that's an island. Okay, I'm going to guess Japan. For E5, I'll take a guess. Got lucky. This column contains the world's 2 largest island countries. Okay, so we know that this is an African country, A5, from a previous hint, and it must be an island. And one of the, so Madagascar is a really large island of Madagascar. contains one landlocked country. Okay. Now the other. So we need a B. So the other really. So Greenland is part of Denmark. So I don't think it would count. Australia is not an answer from previous sentence C1. Now the island of Borneo is huge. And Borneo is part of Indonesia, so I'm going to say Indonesia. E4 borders both the Indian Ocean and the world's largest lake. So the world's largest lake is the Caspian Sea, so that'd be Iran. C3 is in Africa. Okay. We had another hint, didn't we? Or did we? D3, both border two oceans, and it's in Africa, so it'd be South Africa. The world's highest mountain range passes through a country in column 4. Okay. We had a hint about being landlocked. Now, Mount Everest, I think, is on the border of China and Nepal, so that would be Nepal's landlocked, so I'm going to say Nepal. This quiz only has one country starting with the letter E. Okay. Let's see what else. Column 4 contains one land. Okay, so it's C3 is in Africa. The quiz is one country. So column 2 is either the smallest or largest. Okay, so if the smallest country in South America would be Suriname. Okay. 4 countries in row D are in North America. Barbados is not in the quiz. So Canada, Costa Rica, Barbados, so that would be the Bahamas for an island. Bahamas. Okay. So this also must be in North America. 1, 2, 3, 4. Brunei is in Asia. A4 is the smallest of the 3 countries that border both. So A4. Alright, so Kazakhstan, Mongolia, North Korea. I think North Korea, yeah, Vladivostok on Russia is close to it, so I'm going to say North Korea. D5 and E5. D5 and E5. You know, okay, so we already got those two. So this is a North American country. It's B. Wait, do we have any other hint for row D? D3. Do we have any other hint? 4 countries in D. E1 begins with a U. Okay, 3 countries in row D start with the letter B. So B in North America, and Barbados is not, so that would be Belize, I believe, for D1. 3 countries in row E are in South America. Okay, so South American, and it begins with a U. The only U starting country in South America is Uruguay. Bhutan is not in the quiz. Okay. So that I guessed luckily on the ball. So then, let's see. It's E3, so E3 is another. So we need another South American country in E3. Was there anything in there's only one E country. Something about this quiz has only one country starting with the letter. So Ecuador would be a South American. E-C-U-A-D. So B1 borders both Germany and Spain. France borders, yeah. F-R-A-N-C-E. Okay, we got 100. Again, a good effort. Alright, so now we'll go on to the airlines. Okay, so now we'll do an airline quiz. Look at the logos and guess which airline these are. 16 questions in 5 minutes. Okay, so I know the second in the top row is the Korean Air. And the third is Qatar Airways. I'm just going to do the one. See, I think this is China. Air China. And I think it's like Southern China Airways. Southern China Airways. Maybe South China Air. Well, let's skip that. Okay, so the kangaroo, that's Qantas. And the one next to that, I think that's JetBlue. And the tricolor, I think that's Air France. And then next to, I think that's Southwest. Alright, so let's see, row 3, so that's Lufthansa. Lufthansa. Next to that is British Airways. And next to that is Continental, or United. Next to that is Delta. And first one, JAL, Japanese, or Japan Airlines, yeah. And next to that, I think that's Singapore. And I think that's Thai Air next to that. And next, I think that's the UAE, or Emirates, M-I-R-A-T. So we got one remit. It's like South China. China Airways. China Southern. China Southern Airlines, okay. Okay. Now we'll do the second airline quiz. Okay, so we'll do a second airline quiz. This is over the whole aircraft, so 17 questions, one more question. And again, so this is United. Again, United bought out Continental. United. And is that Hong? That's Alaska. That's Lufthansa. Lufthansa. Qantas, Qantas. That's Delta. That's Southwest. That's Air Canada. That's not Aer Lingus. Aer Lingus has the share. I think it's Ryanair. That's American. Yeah. think that's KLM out of the Netherlands, I believe. Yeah. That's Mexico, Aero, Mexico, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Japan. It's like LL, yeah. Oh, that's British. Wait, what happened? Kick me out. Okay, so we got it. Okay, so we know our airlines, sort of. We're locked into it. So, we'll finish up with Route 66. Alright, so for the final quiz in this video, we have to guess the route 66. So, and I know a little bit of this because when I was in Chicago, I saw the beginning of Route 66 in downtown Chicago, so I know it's in Illinois for the start. Oh wait, Illinois. It goes to Missouri, and I believe it barely goes through Kansas. Then it heads south into Oklahoma, then Texas. Then it starts making its way west. You got New Mexico, Arizona, and then it ends in Southern California. So again, it doesn't truly go across the entire United States, because like I say, it starts in the Midwest, so it doesn't do any of the eastern seaboard or the Appalachians. But that was a historic route for people that wanted to travel, do a long road trip. But like I say, now if someone wanted to do a long road trip, you'd have to take like Interstate 90 if you wanted to cross the northern tier. Well, Interstate 90 kind of go through the South Dakota, Minneapolis, and down, and along Iowa and Buffalo, and kind of into Boston. Or you could take 40, I think. Goes into like Barstow and Arizona, New Mexico, and Panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, Arkansas, Tennessee. Just end in Wilmington, North Carolina. And Interstate 80, I think 80 goes into the Bay Area and Sacramento, then like Reno. And then it goes in through Wyoming and Nebraska and Iowa. And I think it goes through like northern Pennsylvania and ends up in New York. So you could do, or Interstate 10, don't want to forget Interstate 10. It starts in like LA, then goes south along southern Arizona, New Mexico, and then El Paso, then it goes down to southern Texas, New Orleans, Mississippi, Alabama, and then Tallahassee and Jacksonville. So there, people don't use Route 66 that much anymore, but I said, in its day, it was a big highway. Okay, so anyway, that's it for the Sporcle quizzes. As always, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to take the quizzes yourselves. As always, so long and good.